Okay, so we're here live on Facebook. I'm Katie Rich, the deputy editor of VanityFair.com, and I'm here with Katherine McNamara, the star of Shadowhunters.
Hi there, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. You're fresh. Oh wait, before we get started, we're going to share this on our Facebook pages so that everyone can know that we're live.
Big beautiful world of technology.
This is my first Facebook Live, so
really,
yeah, you're an expert.
I have been doing quite a few of these recently, and it's been a lot of fun. Let me see here.
Yeah, there's nothing more hands-on with fans than the Facebook Live.
Yeah. It's fun though. I love it. We started doing this when the show was airing.
Like live during the episode?
We were doing it. We would do it either a half hour before or a half hour after.
That's really fun.
It was awesome because we would get the commentary and all of these things.
I'm really impressed how you're managing to talk and do this at
I'm
the
trying.
same time.
It's not working out as well as I wanted to, but...
Well, while you do that, so Shadowhunters was at New York Comic Con over the weekend. Season 2 is coming back in January. There's a lot of exciting stuff in store. There's a trailer that just premiered for the new season.
Yes, there is.
So what was it at New York Comic Con that got the fans like the most excited?
Well, I think it's seeing sort of the new season and the new look of the show. Mm-hmm. Because we learned a lot from season 1 and we've made a lot of changes to the show. So the entire look of the show is different. The entire aesthetic and the way we're shooting, the way the show is lit, the whole essence of the show has become a lot darker and a lot grittier and a lot more grounded.
Now, is that always going to happen because of the books, or did you hear from the fans like, no, we want more drama?
You know, it was an idea that our showrunners and the network and some of our executive producers had, because we had a little bit older of an audience than we expected, and they really responded to the darker, grittier, more grounded aspects of the show. Mm-hmm. So we decided, well, why not, since we have this opportunity to go again and to have more episodes and kind of go more into that avenue of the story, that it ended up working out for the best. But they really responded to that. But so we had this trailer, and then we also released 2 scenes from the pilot, from the first episode. And it's great because they got to show one scene introducing a new character, and then they showed a fight scene between a training fight scene between myself and Isabel, and so that's always fun.
Yeah,
to see a couple of girls sparring together.
Yeah, you're doing some serious stunts there.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of physical training are you going through for stuff like that?
What kind of training aren't we doing is the real question. No, but it's a lot of fun because we have an amazing personal trainer who kicks our butt in the gym and helps me on my path to, Lara Crofting myself. And then we have an amazing stunt team that trains us in wire work, in weapons, in martial arts, and everything else, all other manner of demon killing that we need to learn. But it makes it a lot of fun because it's allowed us to up our game this season. Yeah. I've been doing a lot more wire work on the show, which is so much fun.
Is it as fun as it looks? Because everyone wants to fly, but it also seems like it might hurt. Like it digs into your hips.
Yeah, it does. It's not the most comfortable situation, to be fair, but it's worth it in the end because you literally are flying through the air. You feel like a superhero. Okay. And when you have an amazing stunt team around you, it's, at least for me, it's not scary at all.
So you have an episode in the new season directed by Paul Wesley of Vampire Diaries, which is also announced at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Is that the craziest fan conversions? Vampire Diaries has really crazy fans, and you guys have crazy fans.
I'm pretty excited. I have to say, I'm kind of a fan of Vampire Diaries myself. So, and I think Paul's amazing. And one of our producers is good friends with him, so it's very exciting because I've heard so many great things about him as a person and as a director. So I always love working with actors that have turned directors because that's something that I hope to do someday. Oh. So I always watch them and I have so many questions and it's something that I love. And that's also, even just being a part of the show in general, we work with so many different directors. Just seeing how they go about doing things has been a huge learning experience for me.
Well, and you've been acting since you were an early teenager. You've worked with so many different kinds of directors, so you've kind of got all that under your belt.
Yeah, absolutely. I've only just started to be able to separate and see things through that lens as well. So it's very interesting.
So since you started playing Clary in the show, you dyed your hair red to play the character. So that's very important. So what is life like as a redhead that you're experiencing that you didn't have before?
Well, I'm naturally a ginger as well. So this is just natural plus for the show, which is great. But I've been blonde. I've been a myriad of different hair colors at this point, and I love being a redhead. There's a little bit of fire that comes out in your personality, and I don't know, I feel like I'm a little scrappier as a redhead, a little spunkier as a redhead. But it's something that it makes you different and makes you individual, and you can't help but stand out when you have red hair. And that's something that I really love.
Yeah. So you're playing this character who's been in the books. People are very attached to her already. Like, they already had the sense of who she was. But do you think there's something in her that you've brought to the character that's like, that it's you, even though it's the character that might not have been there before?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what our whole goal with this show is to take the books and put them in a new perspective, to really stay true to the characters and to the essence of what the story is, but take it to a level and to a place that people haven't seen before, and to give it a new life. And have people see this through a new lens, which is really fantastic. But that's something that I think is so special about our entire cast, is each one of us brings a part of ourselves to these characters that gives them an essence that is extra special. It's something new, it's something different, and it adds a little bit of magic to the character that you haven't seen before. So
we've got a question coming in from a fan who's watching us
hello.
live, from Al, who asks, how much darker can we expect the show to get?
Quite a bit, actually, which it even surprises us. Every time we read a new episode, we kind of go, wow, are we allowed to do that? Because that would be dope. But like, are we going to be allowed to really go for it? And the answer is usually yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the demons in and of themselves are a lot scarier. The situations that we're in are a lot more dire and a lot more intense. And I've been covered in blood several times this season already, and we're only on episode 6. So if that's any indication, blood, sweat, and tears are quite a literal thing on our show.
Is it hard for you not to give stuff like that away? Like when you film something really cool and you have to keep it to yourself until the show airs?
Yeah, it's really difficult because especially this season, we've really elevated the show and really upped our game in so many different qualities. And I want to share things so badly, but we find ways to do it. We've all become very good at showing something without giving away something, because it does get the fans excited. We like to include we have such an amazing, supportive, passionate fandom that we like to include them in the process as much as we can. So we find clever little ways to show things without showing anything. Yeah.
All right, we have another question from Stephanie, who wants to know, what is Clary's relationship with Alec this season, and are they slowly becoming friends?
With Clary and Alec, friends is a very relative term. They've always butted heads because they have the same goals of doing the right thing and defeating Valentine and protecting Jace, and they both love Jace in their own way, but those similar goals also put them in competition with each other at times. And with Alec being Jace's parabatai, which is like his brother in arms, and then with Clary being first his love interest, now his sister. It's
complicated.
It's a complicated show, but Clary and Alec actually are put together quite a bit this season. They go on missions together. Alec's starting to teach her how to be a Shadowhunter, and there is something that happens early on in the season that tears them apart and then eventually brings them closer. They bond over this dire situation that happens, and it's one of my favorite relationships because there is such a sass and such a spunk that they bring out in each other as they clash and as they butt heads.
You look forward to those scenes because you get to kind of be a little spicier.
Yeah, and besides, I just love working with Matthew Daddario. He's one of my favorite human beings on this planet.
All right, another question from Cynthia, who wants to know about all the stunts you were talking about. Which was your favorite of those stunts?
I think my favorite so far, I got to do a huge wire stunt kill the other day, where I was flying through the air with a sword in my hand, and it was pretty fun.
What do they make the sword out of so you don't hurt yourself?
Well, that's an interesting question. We have several different types of swords on the show. They've changed the look of them this season. So we have some, like when we're actually stabbing someone, we never obviously have a full sword in our hand. So it'll be the hilt of the sword with a little bit of the blade on it. So when we actually make contact, it looks like it's a blade sticking out of someone. And then we have a rubber version of the sword that'll be a full one, and then there's a metal one. So most of the time when we're doing the fights, when we're in the giant action sequences, we'll be fighting with the rubber ones, because the metal ones are really heavy and very dangerous. They're very pointy, very sharp, not good to be flinging around near people's faces. Yeah. We like to avoid actual injury. We like to keep all the blood fake, not real, right? But then for some of the big moments, some of the hero moments, some of the closer up things, we will use the real swords, and It's very fun, but it's terrifying at the same time.
If you get hit by a rubber sword, does it hurt too? Just like as much as a real sword?
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, it's still, I'm still bruised all the time, but we have an amazing stunt team and an amazing stunt coordinator who's come onto the show and really turned things around, and he's taught us all so well that those mistakes happen less and less.
So Crystal wants to know, can you describe season 2 in one word?
Epic.
Good.
Yeah, it really is too. The show has taken on a much larger scale, a much more grandiose quality to it. It's very cinematic, and that's, I think, really, it adds a lot to our show.
Okay, another question from Alessia. Sorry, hopefully I got your name pronounced right. What character from the book are you dying to see on the show?
I'm dying to see Sebastian. We finally got Maya this season, who's this badass werewolf who comes in. And we've gotten a few new other characters. Victor Aldertree, who was in the new sneak peek, you got to see him come in. But Sebastian is one of my favorite characters from the books. He's the worst villain of them all. And it's very exciting to see.
And you feel like you're saving him?
They are. I know the writers have been, I keep hearing whispers from our showrunners and our writers of considering bringing him in sometime soon. They don't tell me anything officially, but
do you try to whisper in their ears, like as a fan of the book?
Oh, always,
guys.
Yeah. Alberto and I, Alberto Rosende plays Simon, my character's best friend, and so the two of us have read all of the books, and we kind of nerd out over them constantly. So we read a script, and we're always like, okay, so if this happens, does that mean that they're going to bring this in, or does that mean that they're going to do this to tie into this? And we always try and ask the writers, we're like, so, because whoever wrote the episode always comes to set to watch their episode be filmed. So we always kind of go, so, if this happens, like, this is so cool, but what does this mean? Like, can you tell us anything? Come on, you can tell us.
And they're like, we're too smart for that.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. They're like, no, actors, we're not going to tell you anything because you get too excited.
But then you get to be surprised when the scripts come in, just like people who watch the episode.
And that's what's so fun, is every time we get a new script, because we've strayed from the books and we're kind of doing our own thing, we never know what's going to happen, and we never know what's coming. And a lot of times we literally laugh, cry, and gasp while we're reading the script for the first time.
Okay, from Sophie, if you could play another character on the show, who would it be?
If not Sebastian, because he's not on the show yet, I would want to play Magnus Bane. It's Harry Shum Jr.'s character. And he is this amazing magical warlock who does all of these incredible things and just has the best wardrobe.
He's
and
got
the
some
best
serious
apartment.
style.
Yeah, they've redone his apartment this season too. It's more of a flat than an apartment, to be honest. But it's just fantastic. I want to live there.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you could live anywhere from the show, you'd live in this apartment then.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I'm going to mispronounce your name, I'm sorry. Itziar, I think. Which one of Clary's traits do you feel you most identify with?
Probably either her passion or her loyalty. That's something I love about Clary, is that anything she does, she throws herself in 112%. And she really commits and sees it through to the very end. But she also has this fierce loyalty to the people that she loves. She'll do anything for them. There are several people on the show now that she would die for. She would gladly give up everything for, and has. So those are qualities that I feel like I very closely possess.
From Emily, if you could choose one person to guest star, who would you choose?
Ooh, there's so many people. That's a really difficult question. Actually, I think it would be really fun, since Paul Wesley's directing, it would be fun to get him on the show.
Yeah,
for an
that seems like it could
episode.
happen.
I mean, he has a little bit of experience in the supernatural realm. I think he would fit right in.
I feel like when you get that question, you're like, do you say like the president or like the queen?
Yeah, right? I mean, welcome to all of those people. I would love to have all of the above on the show.
President Obama's about to have some time on his hands.
Hey, come on the show. We can use you.
It's time. Chrissy wants to know, what did you love the most about New York Comic Con?
My favorite thing was standing backstage right before the panel and listening to the fans' reactions as the trailer and the new scenes were airing. Just seeing, because it always surprises me, the specific things that they get excited about, and the things that make them gasp, and the things that make them laugh, and the things that make them cheer. And just feeling that energy right before you go on stage to talk about the show is just magic.
Yeah.
Especially when you have something new and different that you're premiering. We don't know how the fans are going to react. We think it's cool, but they might not. They might not agree. They might not like it. And so hearing that enthusiasm right before you go on stage, it's wonderful.
When new episodes air, do you watch them live so that you can watch how people are reacting on social media?
Yeah, and that's what we do. At least for the first season, a lot of us were able to be together every week for for the airing of the episodes, and we would do live Twitter chats and Facebook before or after, and doing all of these things. They had the Snapchat team there, so we were Snapchatting from the show's page at the same time, and seeing the immediate reactions to these shocks and these things that happen on the show. It's so much fun, because people do have such strong opinions about the show.
And you've been on Broadway, so you've got that. Is that similar to the like live audience reaction feeling you get in theater?
It's similar, except it's a little bit nerve-wracking because there's nothing you can do about what's going to air, and whatever's there is what's going to happen, and you can't change it, you can't fix it, and a lot of times I haven't seen the episode beforehand, so I really don't know. You know, and a lot of times we shoot so many different versions of things. You know, there was an episode we shot a few weeks ago that something really dramatic happened, and the reaction to it lasted for the rest of the episode and into the next one. And because of that, and because I didn't really know we didn't have the script for the next episode yet, so I didn't know where they were going with her journey and dealing with what had happened. And so in the episode that we were shooting, I had to shoot from A to Z as far as emotional kind of journey. So I have no idea how they're going to piece it together.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The suspense, even for you.
Even for me.
Okay, we have still more questions coming in. Thanks to everybody for
love it. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much.
No, I knew you had amazing fans. I was just watching them come through on my phone.
Yeah.
Kenza wants to know what's your favorite character on the show and why.
One of my favorite characters on the show right now is, other than Clary, obviously, because I'm so attached to her, but I love Magnus. I keep going back to that, but he's a character that has so much mystery around him, and he's been around for 600 or 800 years. I forget how old he is, but he has so much history, and he's constantly torn between the old and the new, and there's so much depth, and the way Harry plays it is so beautiful.
Yeah. Arthur asks, what was your favorite project you worked on before Shadowhunters?
Oh, that's difficult.
You've done a lot.
And every project I've done has been so different, and has taken on such an amazing life of its own, and people ask me what my favorite role that I've played has been, and it's like picking a favorite child. But I loved working on Broadway. That was really fun. That was a year of my life that was just magic, and I'll never forget it. It's something I'd really like to go back to. But I also loved shooting The Maze Runner, because it was such a cool experience and such a team experience, and the guys on that show the whole team, I say guys, I mean the collective group of us, are so great. And spending a month and a half outside at night in the cold in Albuquerque is
you need good friends.
You need good friends to get you through that. But then you're also running around feeling like a badass with a rifle over your shoulder, and in this huge fight scene, and it's so epic.
All right, we have one last question that I think will give you a good chance to shout out your castmates. From Cynthia, what is the cast like behind the scenes?
They're amazing. They are family to me, and especially because I'm the youngest one on the cast, it's so great to have 5 big brothers and a big sister to learn from, both in work and in life. And you hear so many horror stories about season 2 of shows about people fighting and not getting along and things like this. But our show, it's been the exact opposite. We've bonded together even more and become even more of a team, and gotten even closer to one another, where we're to a point now where I know that I could turn to any one of those guys for help, for advice, for anything, and they could come to me. I mean, we take care of each other, and that's what's so fabulous.
When you know you've got a hit and you've got the fans really loving what you're doing, it must give you such a good sense of purpose. Like you're all going in it as like a team for this bigger thing.
Yeah, and we all really care about the show, and we care about each other, and I think that translates to our chemistry on screen as well.
Yeah. Well, everyone can look forward to that when Shadowhunters comes back January
2nd.
Hey.
2nd at 8 p.m. Mondays at 8. That's
just when your New Year's Eve is over, you're kind of exhausted. You have something to look forward to.
New year, new show, new Shadowhunters. Come check us out.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. And
Thank you,
Katherine.